There we go.
Oh, yes, we're live. Okay, live. Okay.
hmm Well, it took it a little bit from when I told it to go live to when it officially went live. Okay.
Delays. Always fun.
Yep. Oh yeah. So yeah, we're here talking about Book of Boba Fett, Episode 6, or as I like to call it, it's actually more closer to Book of Boba Fett Episode 5 because last week was Mandalorian season 3, Episode 1.
I would say still in season 2, but it's like episode shoot episode 16 and a half.
Yeah, it's more like one of those things where you get a special episode while you're not in season, which can happen. So, wouldn't it have been great if they actually just did that?
Yeah, kind of would have. And again, it was nice to see Boba Fett for like 10 seconds in his own show. I noticed.
And-
I sorry. One thing I noticed about this whole scenario is that as soon as they finish the backstory, it's like the writers don't know what to do with Boba Fett.
yeah, and it took and in this episode, this doesn't by itself make it not an episode of Book of Boba Fett. But it is interesting to me that they gave him almost exactly 1 minute of screen time, and that was it.
You mentioned you counted it, so it was like of like maybe a minute of it. So like,
Yeah,
and he doesn't say anything. I saw someone
he's just
made a joke.
there.
I saw someone made a joke of like, okay, it's Book of Boba Fett is where you guys want it now. How he was during the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, where he just kind of stands around and doesn't say much.
Yeah,
But
and
sorry, go ahead.
for for this episode, for this episode, I'm not going to say quite as much like I did about the last episode not being an episode of Book of Boba Fett, because at least the parts that Mando did well on Tatooine and the parts with Cobb Vanth were actually relevant to the plot of Book of Boba Fett. So
Yeah,
due to that, it is still an episode of this series, whether or not Boba Fett's there. I personally think he should be in more, but that wasn't the heart of my criticism before. The heart of my criticism was that it had nothing to do with Book of Boba Fett. This
yeah,
episode, everything that was actually on Tatooine
had to
had
do with it.
something
Do with it.
it had something to do with it, but there was a lot that was not on Tatooine, so that was very disjointed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, again, that makes sense. Like you see, everybody in the boardroom planning out the plan. You say, look at the spice. Which, speaking of the spice, why wasn't it in like some sort of protective packaging? Like, usually when you've got like high quality drugs, you've got something that you protect it with. The most you had was like a case, and then after he kicks it over, it just kind of
Yeah,
falls out onto the sand. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wouldn't
and
they like?
the outer portion looking like the case would make sense, but you'd think that after you open it up, there would be a little bit more protection because like the outer portion and would be the part that you want to fit into wherever you're putting it at the drop.
Yeah, no, the outer portion was no more than like the usual suitcase box.
Yeah,
That again, that makes sense. And when you open it, the cocaine, cocaine or whatever drug you have in there, isn't just like willy nilly out in the open. It's wrapped up sort of like protective seal or something. And
hmm
I keep in mind, I wasn't expecting like like Ziploc bags or anything like that. I was expecting at least though some sort of protective seal that he would like hit like two buttons on and then it would open and then we have access or something.
yeah,
Even if they wanted to have that effect of like the spice spilling into the sand, he could have shot the packaging
yeah.
after he kicked it open. and that would have given the same effect, even slightly cooler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as far as Grogu goes, and me and everyone else who said that was going to be Beskar chainmail completely called it.
Again, that was I have no shame in eating the humble pie. That was a genuinely good surprise. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know Mando's made chainmail. I thought they're primarily plate armor. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So Grogu has a nice little set of like a chainmail shirt, kind of like a thrill shirt or something like that. But
Hey there.
to kind of
honestly, it would make sense for Mandalorian armor to have the Beskar plates over chainmail because you actually have that would be the equivalent of like plate mail. The reason why it's called plate mail is because you have plate over chainmail, which would actually help with that with those little vulnerable points between the plates.
Although to be fair, like I imagine Mandalorian armor not all that different from Batman's armor. There are vulnerable spots. One thing I don't understand Disney's logic is why they're taking away the crotch plates. No, seriously.
They might see that as sexualizing in some way, shape, or form.
Protecting your zone, that's not sexualization. That's just basic common sense and defense. Even
I know.
like Jango Fett had a plate. Even a lot of the Mandalorians in TCW had the so this it's not really, and especially with Mandalore, there is no thing. It's either you're either a warrior and a Mandalorian or you aren't. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rules of society and creed.
Mm-hmm.
You either have the soul or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry, go ahead.
Now, this is going to go back to criticizing the last episode a little bit, but also for jumping ahead and back at the same time with the chainmail. The fact that the chainmail is so important with the choice at the end kind of harkens back to one of my criticisms of last episode of why the armorer asked about the helmet after the duel and not as the first question, because it's supposed to be so important.
That was a good point. That should have been the first thing they asked.
But the reason why they didn't ask immediately was because they needed to get that chainmail made. So they couldn't ask the question until the chainmail was made. So yeah.
It makes sense for the sake of the story, but logically doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, they had to actually damage the Mandalorian's creed, which I mean, so many people already think that the helmet thing is bullshit anyway.
No, I agree. No, I agree with I agree with them. By the way, the helmet thing is bullshit. Even
but what I'm saying is that even given that, they had to damage their actual creed to push forth this plot this plot prop, because they had to have it so much that they damaged how important the helmet rule was.
Yep. But all right, so again, I do see what you mean about like that, because it was literally just set up so that they could get the chainmail shirt for what was going to happen next. And what's funny is that Joe and I were joking around about how, the next episode actually just gonna. We were talking about how I was joking, by the way, when I said the next episode was going to be Luke. It was Din going to see Luke and Grogu, and it's like, oh god, I really hope they don't do that. And next thing I know, seems like he's retracting his previous criticism, because that what I said would happen is exactly what happened.
And it's still best thing ever.
Although it's to be honest with you, like this honestly, and I'll get to it because again, this is the thing that's irking me a big time.
I'm not
Is the
saying it's best thing ever to
characterization?
you. I would say that was best thing
Oh, I
ever
know.
to Joe.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but
I don't know
the
where's Joe. I tweeted at him to sort of kind of let him know this stream is going on, and
yeah. So did Net via the chat.
Yeah.
So where he is. Anyway, like watching the episode, again, like I'm thinking to myself again. Okay, so far this is just bookberries because you have
he just tweeted at me. I can't watching Paddington with the mother.
Oh, he's watching Paddington Bear. Okay, so that's excellent timing.
Man.
But this again, like this is something he and I were talking about. We were joking about it, and one thing he definitely called was Prince of Cat Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, if you're just having Boba Fett with a bunch of other mercenaries and stuff like that, fighting a bunch of pikes, that is a completely one-sided fight. Like they're gonna win no problem. You need like a genuine antagonist, someone. So we were talking about, well, maybe it'll be Bosk or maybe it'll be Cad Bane. So like we're speculating, and then there you go, Cad Bane. But again, I think I want to talk about what irked me about this episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the whole Jedi thing, and it pisses me no end just how wrong they got it.
Yes.
Like, so Din goes there, right, to go see Grogu because he wants to deliver the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to deliver the chainmail shirt. You know, okay, and now keep in mind, if this was expanded universe Luke, he would say, see him. It's good for you to see him. It's good to know he's got someone, to watch. Both him and Ahsoka seem to have this pious fucking holier than thou attitude. If you see him, you're only going to cause more pain.
And they both seem to treat it more like a religion than I've ever seen either of them treat it before.
Yeah, and but this is the worst part. I'm like, okay, Luke, but is it still okay for you to see like Leia and Ben and Han and Chewie and spend time with your friends and family? You fucking hypocrite. No offense. And again, this is sorry.
The no attachments thing is one of the worst things that can be taken out of this. And is it possible that Luke may have learned some of this from some texts? Yes. But one thing that I keep on trying to tell people is that just because this iteration of something is possible doesn't mean that it was a good choice to make.
Yeah, well, my biggest issue with this, it feels like he learned absolutely fucking nothing from Return of the Jedi. I get Ahsoka. I get Ahsoka's reasoning. She's coming to fear and pain. She's like, my master turned to the dark side. He became completely evil, and I couldn't save him. Luke, on the other, from his attachment to his father, managed to not only save him but redeem him
and save the universe in the mix.
Yeah, and why? Because his love for his father was so great that his father was like, I can't let my son is such an inspiring Jedi. I can't be any less than him. I have to do something. It was that particular act, and he can't take 5 minutes to tell Ahsoka, hey, it wasn't too late. There was good in him.
Yeah, and they were obviously talking.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I feel like Luke's character is more bastardized in this one mode than he ever was in The Last Jedi. I know I know that sounds like heavy coming from someone like me, but like at least in The Last Jedi, he was showing some sense of emotion.
I don't think that it's worse. I think that it's the straight line progression to what happened in The Last Jedi. Because by making these mistakes, that's what caused caused the bad shit to happen, and it's what caused him to become bitter against the ways of the Jedi, because he followed these precepts, and now we have old
Again,
man
like
Luke yelling at the sky.
yeah, again, I'm not against the reason why I say I feel like this is worse is because keep in mind I'm not against the concept of an old depressed Luke. You know, if you lose everything sometimes and you're in your old age, sometimes it
Oh
takes
yeah,
some time before you snap the
but
hell out of it.
but what
And
I'm trying to
obviously
say,
for old man,
what I'm trying to say is that this actually leads us into this version of old man Luke.
oh, I know, and I know, and keep in mind, even though I had again, even though I had my issue, DLJ Luke, because logic for leaving made absolute no sense to me. Like I could still tell that there was semblance because he so for pro using your emotions even in that one because he himself was using emotions in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
even after he sort of like did the whole 360 and did the whole force Saul where he goes to Crate to face Ben. Again, it still feels like he's using emotions. In this one, his absolute hypocrisy. Emotions are
Yeah.
forbidden because they can cause hurt and pain. I'm like, dude, did you not use your emotions to fucking father 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Do you not remember? You have a
And
goddamn thing, have you?
at the end, he decides to make Grogu make a choice between them and the Mandalorians.
Oh my
And
god, that was
and
so pretentious and convoluted. Jesus
and,
Christ.
and here's the thing about making somebody make a choice like that. If they choose to stay with you, that means that is going to put a kernel of resentment in their heart, because they will always know that you made them choose between you and their foster father.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
If this was
and when they keep on talking about the entire mantra of how you get to the dark side, I always forget the entire mantra, but I'm pretty sure that resentment is going to be part of that path.
the reason the mantra is path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they seem to, because Luke seems to, Ahsoka could probably tell Luke tales about like how the previous Jedi got it wrong. Luke could use that knowledge. They're completely stuck in the fucking prequel ways, and what is that they are letting the fear of emotion like cloud judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They are absolutely letting like, and not just Luke, Ahsoka too. Again,
Yep.
Ahsoka could snap out of it if Luke told her saved him.
Yeah.
And again, like so I give Ahsoka a little bit pass because I feel like Luke hasn't told her, because otherwise
Mm-hmm.
she wouldn't be trying to prevent Din from seeing Grogu. I don't know
Yeah.
if they just have like a hate boner for Orions or something, which doesn't make any sense because she works so well with Bo-Katan.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure out, because again, even in TLJ, I still saw emotional Luke, but in this
Mm-hmm.
one, this Luke, he's, my God, even in the Battlefront 2 campaign, they didn't fuck up Luke as badly as they did in this episode.
Yeah.
Like Battlefront 2 campaign Luke is an ideal Luke. He is optimistic. He is hopeful.
Yeah,
And
I've heard good things about him.
It brings up the question to me. It brings up the biggest question to me. Why not tell Din right then and there on the Star Cruiser at the end of the Mandalorian season 2, you can't see him again? Nope. We've got to be completely run you around pretentious circles and
Mm-hmm.
why it's preach to you why it's important. Luke,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to go train my nephew. Oh, I'm gonna be so happy to see him. Emotions like joy. I'm like, oh my God, they are ruining Luke in this episode. This is that this is the thing that made me not to want to watch anymore, like making me feel
Yeah.
that desire, because I'm like, how much fucking worse is it gonna get from here? That's like, even though there's continuity problems, I still have enjoyed a lot of the Disney content. It's fun, it's adventurous, it still gets the themes of Star Wars correct. This one completely missed the mark with the fucking themes so hard.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I was talking to Padawan about this a little bit, and our theory is that he's going to choose the Mandalorians with with the shirt, and then he's going to be the one to wield the dark saber.
Oh no, I already told Padawan this. I'm like, if Grogu decides to go with Din, which I'm fairly confident he will. I'm absolutely fairly confident he will. If he decides to go with Din, then the sequel trilogy, for anybody who's still holding out hope that it's going to get retconned or erased, it's all but assured, because Ben will be his first apprentice.
Yeah.
And if Grogu stays, then people will continue to grasp at the straws that the sequel trilogy is going to change, when in reality it's still being fulfilled, and it'll just be another continuity error.
Oh dear Lord, the people that are still saying that sequels are being erased and they see evidence in this episode. I haven't watched their videos. I should, so I know what they're talking about, but I've seen it from the previous ones, and it's just so much that grasping at straws and almost conspiracy theories.
Right.
Yeah, and people, honestly, I've seen people praising Luke and Ahsoka in this, and I'm
Uh,
like mentally checked out at the moment, because I'm like, how can you be like, have you never read a single EU novel in your life? Like, and by the way, I don't mean the prequel era stuff, because the prequel era stuff, even they kind of showed emotion even though in those. I'm talking about
mm-hmm.
like the OT era novels where Luke, and keep in mind, I didn't even read the novel. I read about this in the Essential Reader's Companion, because for a novel I'm planning to read down the line, which is Luke Skywalker and the Shadow of Mindor. In it, it mentions how Luke was trying to free a bunch of Shadow stormtroopers from the mental control of Chronal, Lord Shadowspawn at the time. He manages to do this, but it sets off like a weird force fail-safe trigger that kills all of the stormtroopers. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Luke obviously didn't intend for this to happen. He didn't desire for it to happen, but it still happened. So Luke actually feels super guilty about it. Like, I mean, he doesn't give up and go into exile like TLJ Luke, but he feels super guilty about it, and he goes to the point where he quits being a New Republic general to focus more on the Jedi, so he doesn't repeat the same mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Mm.
oh my god, that is such in character with Luke. He would be the
Yeah.
type of guy who would see a big fault, and even though it wasn't technically his fault, he was just trying to do the right thing, he still feels responsible and still wants to do better. I'm like, that is so Luke
Yep.
Skywalker. That is
It,
Luke
it's
Skywalker.
it's the wanting to do better that is missing in Last Jedi.
Yeah, no, and not just Last Jedi, in this episode. Like,
Yeah,
even at the end of, again, even at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian,
because he's
like
not
I
changing
still,
things.
yeah, like I still felt like, oh, this is something Luke would do. If people were in trouble, he would rush in. I mean, he would make a plan, obviously, but he would rush in to save them.
Mm-hmm.
He would obviously, he would make a plan so he wouldn't do anything foolish, but he would rush in and he'd say, look, we can't just leave these people to die. Someone's reaching out to me in the Force. I need to help them.
Yeah.
Because that's something Luke would do. That's why I felt like Luke was in character there. But here, like, again, even in TLJ, I didn't feel as disconnected with Luke as I did in this episode. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What is absolutely? Were you switched out with a clone or something?
Well,
With an unfeeling, unsympathetic clone?
so something that is aside from the exact plot point stuff and exactly about that. that I noticed that I decided to have my wife, who hasn't actually watched any of Book of Boba Fett, but
Right.
frankly, you don't need to for anything with the Luke and for anything with the Luke and Grogu scenes. And as they were trading, and starting their montage of what they were doing, I noticed a little upbeat jingle start going in the back of the start going on the background. That just
Right.
that did not sound like Star Wars music to me, but sounded like, come on, look, everything's happy, 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 everything's happy.
I didn't even notice the jingle, but I can see what you're talking about. I'm like,
And
there's nothing happy.
it just looked
Yeah,
like
go
they were
ahead.
trying to it looked like felt to me like they were trying to use the music to get us to go, isn't this great? And Grogu is bonding with Luke, and and this force training is awesome, and all that. And for me, what it did was make me go, why are you trying to make me feel things that aren't on the screen?
Yeah, that's it's a way to trick the audience. It's a viewer thing. But
it
again, like
I
if
wish.
it was
it,
sorry, go
it
ahead,
happened
CT.
it happened uh,
Sorry.
go, go,
Well,
go ahead, CT.
I was hoping that Joe would be here, but
I know.
they were.
Well,
I mean,
whatever. But they did this last episode too. When Mando was doing the entire thing of dropping all of his weaponry into the baggage claim, they did this big thing
Yeah, the goofy music.
with the
I
goofy
remember that.
music. Yeah, and that's basically the same thing that they did here, because they're trying to make a scene funny that really wasn't funny.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this I'm sorry to keep pushing on this issue, but it bothers me because if it was EU Luke that was training Grogu, and uh, Din came to visit him, Luke would be like, "Yeah, go see the kid," and he would tell him like, it does him good to see, it does him good to see you, and I know it does the same for you. And
but
what's funny is
but
they
but
completely
but
no they
but maybe avoid these other topics to make him want to who focus on outside things or something like that. Like, here's some ground rules that would be good.
Yeah, and completely Luke kind of by doing this, Luke and Ahsoka kind of burned a bridge with Din.
Oh
Because keep in
yeah.
mind, well, here's the thing: Din has the dark saber right now, right?
Okay. Here's the thing. You're right, but they started burning the bridge with Din, and then they kind of completed burning that bridge with the choice at the end.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree. My point is like Din has the dark saber.
Yep.
The whole who better to show him how to use that than
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker? He could actually teach him how to wield it, teach him about the responsibility in the next Mandalore. Well, I mean, like obviously via Mandalorian Creed because Din wouldn't know about that. But my point being is like who better to help him connect with the blade than Luke Skywalker?
Mm-hmm.
He could easily teach him, and in a sense, it would keep him there longer to see Grogu a bit more. And then when he has to go and unite Mandalore, you know, he'd still go. I'll still come. I'll still come and visit you, even if like he can't see him 100% of the time because he has duties as the new Mandalore. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he could still take the time to visit Grogu. And keep in mind, you burn bridges because, like, let's say a big threat comes to the galaxy, and like Thrawn returns or something, and Luke needs help. Uh, and
Yeah.
because he's training Grogu, and Luke goes to see Mandalore himself, Din, and Din literally says, "Yeah, I'll help you. You help my boy. I'm helping you."
Mm-hmm.
Like the
And
Republic and the Jedi need our aid.
and the flip side of that is that Mandalorians, from what I recall, tend to hold grudges. They're pretty good at holding grudges. So when you turn one away, that's not a great move.
You haven't made a friend in that sense. You've made an enemy,
Yep.
even if you don't realize it. And again, this is not something that Luke do, and that's why off is so Other than that, I enjoyed the episode. Like it's got its issues, just like the previous one, but overall I enjoyed it. But
It
this
didn't have anywhere near as many issues.
No,
So-
not in comparison to the previous one.
So can I
But-
ask? Can I ask you guys? Well, you guys can continue what you were saying here, but I sort of want to ask a little bit of a question.
Go ahead, CT.
I mean, how come you guys? Do you guys sort of kind of want the sequel trilogy to be retconned, or how come you've sort of?
I don't.
I mean,
CT, do you ever listen to what I say?
right? Sorry. I mean,
It. Hold on one sec.
sorry. I mean, I just know that it might upset people like Doomcock here for that. The sequel trilogy isn't going to be erased from what you guys are saying here. I mean,
I don't think it's going to be. Again, have you listened to me? I've been saying that it's not going to.
sorry.
I mean, you're saying you're ascribing the exact opposite position on me of what I have. I don't want them to be erased, and they are not being erased. I mean, come on, dude.
Sorry. I mean, it might be upsetting to some few people that I know, I think, but
There are people that would be very happy and do think that it's being erased. They're also a tad delusional.
kind of delusional, right?
And
Right.
I'm going to invite Brian on since Joe's not here.
What are you're gonna berate Brian here?
Yep. And now,
Pretty sure
Brian,
Brian
remember,
called me heretic one time.
probably. He's said things to me too. He's a good guy overall. Just gets a little temperamental. And I know you're listening to me, Brian. There we go.
I mean, people believe that Dave Filoni is supposed to be the savior of Star Wars, or
He's not a savior of Star Wars. I think he's the creator in Star Wars, but definitely not the savior. And again, when it comes to the whole sequel retconning decanonization thing, my stance initially was with Doomcock that they were going to do it because they said, okay, this is a big misstep. Now we've got to get their direction.
right?
After some time realizing how delusional that is,
Well,
my thought changed because I realized, okay, it's clear as day the sequels are not going anywhere. As much as I would like them to leave, not because I don't want people who love the story to feel isolated, but just so people who didn't like it can have something to look forward to down the line when it comes to Star Wars related content. But when they have the knowledge that it's all going to lead to the sequels, like
roads lead to the sequel trilogy.
Why should they even bother caring anymore? Like, oh, it's just going to lead to Jake Skywalker and Rey, the blah blah blah, Mary Sue. It's just gonna lead to that. Why
Brian,
should they give a shit?
Why should they? Could you actually put your name in there instead of that?
Who is Pee Pee Poo Poo Man?
That would be Brian.
Brian is listed as Pee Pee Poo Poo Man.
Yeah.
Hi.
Please change your name.
Hello, Brian. I know I sent stuff to you on Twitter DMs.
Why do you keep asking me if I like Zootopia?
it's CT's
It's just his thing.
Well, I mean,
also, why were you sending Joe like?
Because I wanted to.
Let's not get into that shit, okay?
It's just fucked up.
That's part of. Trust me, I've already.
No.
Okay, guys. As far as all that shit that he's done, just read it as I have already read him the riot act for all that shit.
Okay,
because I have.
And that we're relaxed. We're just razzing him a little. I mean, what would I know? I'm a
Okay.
heretic, so
I mean,
I'm just
he
I'm
missed
just
the
trying to make sure that I'm just trying to make sure things don't get out of hand.
Joe missed the opportunity to be here. You should have known, or maybe we should try to let him know that we do it at a particular time, like 4:30. I mean, well, no, that's would be Naso and I's specific.
I'm working more than 90 hours a week right now. The time is determined by what the fuck's going on with my work week.
Right.
Yeah, because you mentioned some of your staff are out with COVID, so you've got to work a little overtime.
Right.
I was supposed to be off at 9 this morning. I ended up being off about 3.
And then you have to go back in again.
Yeah.
In a couple hours.
Yeah. So if I had scheduled this, then the time I'd scheduled it for wouldn't have happened. So yeah. Anyway,
And
he changed his picture to a rage. So
you're angry that you're.
No,
you're
that
angry
looks pretty. That actually looks like a pretty decent in the avatar for Brian right now.
because we're discussing that the idea that the sequels may not be retconned or
Yeah,
I don't want them retconned.
Okay,
it's not going to happen.
I actually wasn't sure what your thought on that was, Brian.
I've told you like 10,000 times.
I couldn't remember for sure. I talked to a lot of people.
You're getting senile, old man.
well,
But yeah,
how old is everyone really? I know I'm 24. I'm 24.
You
no,
sure?
I know
Not
he's
14?
I know he's like in his 30s or 40s.
Okay.
Well,
So,
Net watched He-Man as a kid, so he's close age to my dad. So.
Mm-hmm. I watched the good He-Man.
Ah.
All right. So what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the place where we were, I believe, was we were discussing in Luke and the training and the views on and his views on having attachments being a bad thing. And
Wait, what?
And
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
you know how when Luke is talking to Din and then later on to Grogu, they talk about how attachment is bad.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so Din shouldn't be interacting with Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that yeah, that's not good, and maybe you should have learned from your experiences.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Especially since 5 years ago, you saved your father because of your emotion, because you cared about him.
Yeah, even though Yoda told him to forget about him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what,
not just you. One said, "Hey, he's. I don't think there's any good in him." But Luke's. There was a video I watched a while back, and it mentions like the concept of okay, sorry, give me a sec. It mentions the concept of like the Vader not being good to begin with, but the reason Vader turned was because Luke was so stubbornly clinging to the belief that there must be good in him.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that when he went against what Yoda told him, Yoda said, "Then we are already lost." When Luke said, "I couldn't kill my father," so he very distinctly went against the ways of the old Jedi.
The old Jedi. And it still won out.
And in so doing, he saved his father and the Republic. So then he goes back to nope, but they must be right because that's what I was taught by them. Even though he went against it and won because of it.
Well,
I always
Sam,
I always imagine the Force Ghosts Jedi just like appearing and they're like, "Oh shit, sorry." It's probably
Well,
our fault.
I'm saying it's funny. Sam Witwer had a video a while back about Return of the Jedi, and one of the concepts he mentions is what you were talking about, Net, which is like, he defied his elders in Empire, and he ended up being wrong and losing his hand and everything. And then he says, so this time he's going to listen to his elders, and then Lucas tells him no, because Luke is a man now. He understands the difference now. He understands where his elders are right and where his elders are wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
But then he goes back to this.
Yeah, I'm like, it's only according to the Disney timeline, it's in 5 years. What happened within those 5 years that you completely forgot that you saved your father? And that you can't share it with Ahsoka, because both of you seem to be absolutely crippled by the fear of your emotions. That, emotions dangerous, emotions bad. And again, it sounds hypocritical coming from Luke if he ends up going to see his family later. If he ends up going to see, Han, Leia, Lando, he's going, hey, how you doing? Hey, let's go have some dinner. Let's go hang out. Let's talk about the good times. God, I love you guys. I'm like, do you not realize how big of a hypocrite you'd sound like in that?
Yeah.
Right.
You can't love your loved ones, but I certainly can.
I mean, I sort of kind of wonder.
That's what it is.
Well, Brian, you might want to say something. I mean, you had the idea that it could just be a test for Grogu here, that he's trying to learn how to balance things here, or
I don't know if you know who Mentor Skywalker is, but he told me that he thinks that's what's going to happen, and he's like
It's
a big time Luke Skywalker.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean,
it's a test, but tests have results.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I'm just hoping that he lets Grogu have both, and it's just he just wanted to see where his true passion lies.
Yeah, no. If it's a test, if it's a test to show that he truly has emotion and care, that he knew he would still choose Din, then I'm absolutely behind that. But if it's literally
not,
because you don't leave family behind.
Yeah, if it's literally the convoluted choice,
it's
that I'm
just
expecting it.
Nazer, that you have the problem that with the way how Luke is portrayed here. I mean,
I still think this is. Yeah, but
if this is a test, and he's supposed to choose his Mandalorian, and then Luke is still willing to train him. Here's the problem: Luke is in the position of his mentor, and you need to be able to trust your mentors. And that means that that when they tell you something or they give you a choice, you need to know that they are being honest with you. And this, if it is just a test, that breaks part of that trust bond. So
trust
if
bond, as in what? I mean,
the trust between the student and teacher. Because because in the future he'll be wondering, he told me that this is important, but is he just trying to get me to think for myself? When Luke might be going, no, if you do this, you're going to kill yourself.
Well, not if he has his fingers crossed.
Yeah, but you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do see what you're trying to say. It is because it's an intentional deception.
Yeah,
but again, I don't think with an intentional deception, there's still the possibility of Luke still being salvageable in this story.
I see what you're saying.
I really don't think Disney is that clever, and I really think they are literally just making Luke a convoluted asshole.
Well, we see how that turns out. I mean,
he
ends up on an island by himself.
Keep in mind with TLJ, he still showed some level of emotion and remorse for some of his stuff, and that's why it didn't irk me as badly as it did here. Right. Because Luke is literally letting his pride overtake wisdom.
Yeah.
And to me, that's I don't know why. It's because it's supposed to be. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be 5 years later. He's in Disney timeline. He's supposed to be Jedi Grandmaster, or at least Jedi Master. You should have the wisdom not to let pride get in the way at this point. I mean, there is the possibility that you can have a relapse of judgment every so often because something happened. But like, as far as I'm aware, nothing has happened to give Luke a relapse in judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yet here he is having an absolute relapse in judgment and not giving a shit about the thoughts, views, and opinions of others, and that is not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping maybe Ahsoka ends up becoming his mentor, his teacher.
Well, here's
Grogu's mentor.
Here's Grogu's mentor.
Yeah, because
Here's
that would kind of solve the issue with Ben Solo being his first apprentice.
Well, here's the thing. This is why it still kind of bothers me too, is because Luke has yet to tell Ahsoka, by the way, I know you thought my dad was beyond saving, but I saved him.
Well, I'm sure she knows that he saved him.
And yet
the Empire's
she's still letting her fear cloud her judgment.
Oh, I see.
I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? You are doing the exact opposite of what a good Jedi would do. You are letting fear conquer you.
Well, she's not a Jedi.
Oh yeah. Well, by the way, Filoni said don't cling too hard to that.
Yep. That brings me to one of the things that you guys have already heard me bitch about in the past. Filoni and his love of retcons. Fetish for them, in fact.
I saw something that said him and
He got
Favreau
that
are
from
big.
Lucas.
I saw something about him and Favreau are big fans of EU of Legends. I'm like, are you sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah.
Because what you're doing with Luke here, this is the exact opposite of Legends.
I believe that they've said they're big fans.
Yeah,
I'm sure they've read like 2 books.
And being is 2 different things.
Yeah. I mean, I've read almost every book post Return of the Jedi.
I'm gonna start doing audio.
Net the bookworm.
Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I don't know much about the Clone War era because I
know a bit of that because I've read the novels.
I was more interested in the continuation of Star Wars than as opposed to the history of it.
So
that's kind of the reason. And whatever people say, those are really good.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of times, sometimes I make my own choices, but like a lot of times I defer to Matt Wilkins because that guy's stuff. He's someone who actually gives a shit about what he's reading.
Oh yeah. I don't even know how many books I've read. It would number probably in the tens of thousands at this point.
Yeah.
I read a lot.
But as far as the episode goes, as far as my initial complaint with it being Book of Memberberries, I don't really have a lot. And what's up with Luke? I have a lot of issues with this episode. Like I get it's still a little off as far as being genuinely connected to the Book of Boba Fett.
The only part that's connected is the part that's on Tatooine.
Yeah, and I actually did enjoy Cad Bane, but
it would help.
I thought there was something a little wrong with his costume, just a little bit.
Yeah,
it would help me enjoy him more if I actually bothered to watch the stuff that he was in before this.
Yeah, he's in the Bad Batch and Clone Wars.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Like to be honest with you, Ned, I could specifically send you like every episode that he's in the Clone Wars, and that's all you'll really need to know about him. Yeah. I think they're pretty much going to make that previous gunslinger showdown that was unfinished between him and Boba Fett canon, because obviously that's where Boba got the dent in the helmet one, and that's why in Bad Batch. Cad Bane has a plate in his head. So
He's not dead. He wasn't dead. I mean,
yeah, no, it was just like a gun showdown where they both shot each other in the head. Whereas with Boba, it's just like the helmet's dented and it popped off. Whereas with Cad Bane, like I'm pretty sure some of his head spilled out.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to get a plate. He was likely presumed dead for a bit. So
right.
Yeah.
But like again, like two of my critiques is like he seemed a little angry in comparison, because most of the time I've seen Cad Bane, he's pretty calm, cool character, cold, sadistic. He just seemed like really angry and upset in this moment.
Well, maybe he wanted to get back at Boba Fett for blowing his brains out.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe that could be. And again, like I know he's like Joe was talking about how he seemed to like be baring his teeth a bit more. I'm like, I'm assuming that's a costume issue and that's something that they need to fix or something down the line.
A lot of people didn't like his skin and his like
it was pretty cool seeing Cad Bane in live action finally. You know.
Yeah, well, his skin is lighter because he's older now. Like he was probably like in his 30s during the Clone Wars, so he's like in his 50s, almost 60s now, Duro gunslinger, and still pretty good. Again, like Filoni based him off of Lee Van Cleef, so
right.
So he still has that cold demeanor, but like he is an older guy now.
Yeah, but his mouth is in a totally different. It's too high up.
Yeah,
we're talking about the difference
Photoshop of that.
Wars animation and live action. So
Still, though, I mean, I guess I sort of should possibly apologize to Brian for annoying him a bit on the DMs. I mean, Twitter DMs. I mean, it's just that I sort of think I need to get out of a habit here because, I mean,
Are you just like obsessed with it, or?
Well, it's just that I want to think that there's Star Wars fans that don't hate everything Disney, let's say, okay? Like Disney Star Wars or Disney in general here. I mean...
Brian, did you see my clip from last week's stream where I was reading CT the Riot Act about the fake Star Wars stuff? That's part of that's part of the thing. CT has a bit of an obsession about when people talk about fake Star Wars.
I need to get out of it.
Yeah,
I need to get out of it.
And it bothers him because he wants people to be willing to talk about Zootopia without taking the baggage of their issue with Star Wars, with Disney Star Wars, things like that. For whatever reason, CT adores Zootopia, and yes, you do.
Also, you can tell with the profile, Brian.
Furry.
I do know from your streams though that you kind of prefer Balto a bit more though.
Oh, I mean, it's basically supposed to be a Siberian Husky here, really.
Yeah. But so basically, it's mostly that CT is concerned about people judging the thing that he loves based on things that aren't relevant to it.
Yeah, but I've never even mentioned Zootopia.
Yeah, I know, but he just kind of opens with that a lot of times.
Yeah, he brings it up. He brings it up regardless. And let's not bully him too hard. Remember he's when I say bullying, I'm joking. All right, so don't.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I do want to believe that there's positive, things with Star Wars fans. I mean, I don't want to sort of always think it's always negative here. I mean,
if you asked me to talk about Tales of the Jedi, I would never know how much I love it.
And you've heard me talk positively about Book of Boba Fett too. I mean, in episode 4, when Brian was going, "This is the worst thing ever," I'm going, "Whatever." I still liked it.
Yeah, well, and when you saw the 5th one, I was like saying, "You're crazy, Nat."
Yeah. And by the way, have you watched my video on it?
I'm not sure.
I ain't got time for that foolishness.
Okay.
But you have time.
Dude, I
But you got
I
time
took
to
a
be
couple
sitting here
minutes
talking
to
now.
actually watch it. Come on, man.
I thought you were referring to me. No.
No, I was referring to Brian because Brian's the one that was upset with me for not liking last episode.
Okay.
Yeah, we always seem to like and dislike the total opposite things.
Mm-hmm.
But I
I mean,
always look forward to
I
hearing
don't. I
his
don't want to believe
opinions.
that Star Wars is dead. I mean,
Uh,
Star Wars is
I mean,
I
when
think
you
I think it's dead.
that is a personal thing for anyone for
If it's
each
dead,
person to say.
fine. But that's your problem, your business, your concern.
Yep. But when somebody
Obviously,
who
financially, it's not dead, but
to,
No.
I have
It's still breaking in the dough.
no,
Well,
yeah,
not as much.
I
not
would
as much
say
as it could.
that I would actually say that to get a good answer on that, we need to get Disney to allow some good auditors in there to look behind whatever bookkeeping bullshit they might be doing.
Yeah, if you did that, you'd see like just how lying to their investors, though. So
Oh, I know, but that's actually what originally had me thinking that it might have been possible that KK might have been gone, because I was seeing stuff in Forbes and things that made me think that the investors might have been and rocking the boat enough to get auditors in, and that was the one thing that I saw that might have had a possibility of making things change.
I
But
remember when
I
Network Cat was positive that Doomcock was right.
no, you keep on mischaracterizing that. I kept on saying it was possible that he was. And if you remember, Jada kept on yelling at me for being a fucking fence sitter. Because because what my position was that anybody who said that it was impossible was full of shit. I was not of the opinion that Doomcock was 100% right.
I'd
Because
honestly, Net, I would rather be on the fence than be in like a bullshit conflict that's about stupid
yeah,
shit anyway. So
but I felt that there were that there were honestly good reasons to believe that she might have been gone. And actually, for the people, as far as sources for Doomcock, I was one of the people that was actually whispering in his ear about the possibilities, not the other way around.
You mischievous little kitty.
Because yeah, so one thing that was always kind of funny to me about people going, "Oh, you're just repeating Doomcock," I'm like, I am one of the people that was suggesting things to him.
Just for the kicks of it.
No, because I actually thought that it was possible. And when I saw him saying
So
some
he
things
just
that,
used you as a source.
so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to tell him what I think. And at that point, I didn't really have my own YouTube channel up and running and stuff, so I didn't really have a platform like this where I could talk about it if I wanted to. So I just decided to kind of do it by proxy.
Anyways, I changed my profile to a Balto here.
Yep.
I saw that.
So since Joe's not here, I need to bring up, what did you guys think about Cobb Vanth? Because unfortunately we don't have our number one Cobb Vanth lover, but
I enjoy
but-
Cobb Vanth. I would still prefer him. And I've told about this before. I would.
He's kind of like the Westerner caricature.
He's the sheriff.
He's
The sheriff.
he's the classic gunslinger. Again, I would be, and I've told Joe about this. Be more behind him if I saw him in Beskar again.
I'd be more apathetic, so lethargic.
Who was that?
Mhm.
That's my brother in the background.
Oh.
Maybe he'll get the best scar when Mando dies.
The one thing I want is I wanted the one thing I wanted was I wanted
Well, I mean,
What is it?
It would have been. I was he really killed off in this
I
episode
doubt it.
or?
No. And as far as that goes, his deputy got shot once got shot once in center mass and once on the shoulder. And Cobb Vanth, I'm pretty sure from what I saw, got shot on the shoulder. So
I'm pretty sure he got
Yeah.
shot in that area between the like that bridges the shoulder and the neck.
yeah,
That like shoulder blade area.
so I'm pretty sure he's alive.
Do you think it was
he's an interesting character? That they could keep him around if they want to.
Well, yes, and here's the thing: yay for plot armor! Yay, plot armor!
Do you think it was a fair fight? I mean, because I feel like he got distracted by the deputy.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, he did get a little distracted by the deputy, which is why he kind of lost in that moment.
Yeah, that was kind of my impression, that he probably would have had a chance to score if he wasn't distracted by his deputy.
Because we see him in the beginning, and he's just like a total badass, and he takes out like 4 or what is it, 3 or 4.
He took out 3 of the pikes. Yeah, but
and he would have taken the 4th out, but the 4th decided not to try to attack.
Yeah.
Again, I'm still behind the concept. I'm still behind the concept of like I would like Cobb Vanth more if he had Beskar. Same with what's his face, Mayfeld. I want him and Cobb Vanth to join Mandalorians. They seem like they'd be better there.
You mean Cobb Vanth becoming a Mandalorian, or?
Yeah, I would actually like to see both Cobb Vanth and Migs Mayfeld become Mans.
Okay.
Isn't he played by that comedian guy?
Bill Burr?
Yeah. Bill Burr?
Yeah, Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't a super big fan of his character in the first season. Like, I liked him, but I wasn't as big until like season 2. That moment, that scene where he's talking to the other guy across the table and then just like loses it and shoots him. Like, okay, I get that. I'm on board with this guy. And then he straight up tells Dan, "You never removed your helmet. I never saw your face."
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that Bill Burr was no longer in the show because didn't he support Gina or something?
He did support Gina, but Giancarlo also supported Gina. So,
true.
Make of that, so did Pedro Pascal. Make of that what you may. That even if they don't politically agree, they were like, "Oh yeah, she was a joy to work with. She was such a sweetheart, like the nicest person on the planet." And again, like they're people who are actually willing to put their politics aside and speak well of their colleagues. And I'm pretty sure Burr, according to Joe, at least what he told me, Bill Burr is returning for another season.
Now that I think about it, wasn't it Emily Swallow? She also, I'm pretty sure she also supported her.
And honestly, all of this rash of people wanting to cancel people, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Either side.
I think it's starting to die down, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are realizing how stupid it is.
I'm not just
a lot of the ridiculous.
I'm not just saying for right side politics. I'm saying for whichever side politics, as long as they're
in general,
as long as they're not going after somebody in particular, as long as it's not causing real harm. Come on, guys.
I mean, it's
here's the thing. This is a way to tell where Hollywood's bread is buttered. They gave Kevin Spacey a second chance, but not Gina Carano.
Yeah,
Kevin Spacey, the dude who touches kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who clearly claimed to be gay to shield himself from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a way we can try to correct Hollywood or no?
Well, that's really a matter of speaking with your wallet, and they will eventually go where the money is. They might not immediately, but eventually, when they figure out that they aren't making the money they thought they'd make based on based on their friendly politics, they will course correct.
Yeah, first they'll
Well,
rebel,
it's-
and then and then you know they'll realize
But
how.
Well, it's like the Cartman from that one episode of South Park where he was like, you know, trying to get rid of hippies, and they were talking about how like all these people will bring revenue to our town. They're hippies. They don't have any money.
yeah, and that's what and that's what they need to understand. And and honestly, it really depends on who you're listening to. I've heard some rumblings that say that they are starting to get this figured out, but Lord knows if that's truthful or accurate for a lot or maybe just one particular studio. But eventually, they need money to survive.
Right.
Yeah.
And the investors like money. They don't care what your politics are. And when they stop getting profits, that's when that's when the rubber's going to hit the road. Which again
Yep.
is what I was talking about with stuff in like Forbes and stuff talking about Star Wars and why
Mhm.
and why I actually thought that something might happen because I was thinking that the investors might have actually been woken up.
Mhm. No, or
Well,
woke, or maybe
well,
put back to
you
sleep.
said.
Woke,
I mean,
the opposite of
I
woke.
mean, what I'm trying to say is that the investors won't, I mean, they won't exactly like it if Disney announces the sequel trilogy was going to be retconned here or something.
Well, yeah,
They
that
would
just.
if it meant making the money.
Yeah,
They would.
But I mean, they did technically do that before, so I mean, but they
yeah,
didn't. They
exactly.
also didn't make the EU, and they didn't spend millions of dollars on that. So
Yeah, but for the people that do say that of course they wouldn't do it. How stupid are they? Just like you guys said, they've already done it once, so it's not like
It's
it's out of the
impossible.
question.
but you
Yeah.
know how Disney is. They're just gonna in like 20
I
years they're gonna make another trilogy,
Yeah.
a remake,
Yeah,
What?
a 4D version or something.
with an all new Luke Skywalker, all new
Yeah.
Leia, all new Han Solo.
Right. And
It'll be Star Wars the remake, and it'll
Mhm.
flop.
Star Wars 2043.
Well, here's the thing. It'll be like a remake of the original, but it will flop hard because it'll
Star
be
Wars
nothing more than another
Revelation.
generic action
it'll
film
be
without.
I mean,
It'll be Star Wars Revelation by Kevin Smith.
Star Wars what? Revelation.
Star Wars Revelation by Kevin Smith.
Can you imagine if
Oh,
Star Wars got in the
gosh.
hands of Michael
No,
Bay?
it won't be by Kevin Smith. It'll be by his daughter.
Possibly, but
Who's
yeah,
Kevin? Who's Kevin Smith? I mean,
oh, CT.
Okay,
Have
well,
you
CT
never heard me?
Kevin Smith did a bunch of like really decent films when he was fat and actually ate meat. Now that
Yeah.
he's like soy, his brain has gone to shit, like absolute dog shit.
And
oh,
he's
so-
you mean the guy that worked on He-Man, the Ultimate Universe?
Yeah.
He-Man Revelation. That's why I said Star Wars Revelation. the one that makes me angry.
But you guys can't. But Disney can still make great things, right? Or no? Have they stopped making great things?
They can make good things.
I'll say
What-
this: they make good surface level content with basic themes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But there's
Again,
no
this is-
reason why
this is not me-
there is zero reason why they can't go back to making good things.
Oh no, of course not. There's all you need is a little continuity, consistency, and people who are actually willing to take the occasional risk in writing. And by risk, I don't mean like subverting a character that people have known for like 40 years to be a certain way. I mean like making a new character, writing their particular story and path, and gaining an audience through that new character, and even continuing that character's stories in other plot lines.
Now, what I'll say is that even though I don't think it was a good movie, according to many people who do have a critical eye, they succeeded with Encanto. I think it was shit, but Encanto. As far as I can see, it was a hit, and people that I know that actually are critical about watching movies, a lot of them thought it was great.
Yeah, I never saw it because
I haven't watched it all the way either.
A shit show.
Evo said Silent Bob should have stayed silent.
Yes, but honestly, Encanto is a good background watch, but I can't tell you
Something
all the
you watch
problems
on a
I had
plane.
with. Kind of, yeah. But none of you were in the chat that I was in while I was live watching it. I was watching it, but I was live reacting to it, and I got spicy.
When back in October, or
when it first came on to Disney Plus without needing to pay for it.
Oh, right.
Because I don't pay for I don't pay $30 for the goddamn.
Me neither. Hell no.
I don't have a problem with having Disney Plus, but I'm not paying $30 on top of my subscription to watch one of their movies.
Yeah, no, with my Disney Plus, it's literally just pay the once a year. I don't do the monthly thing. Just pay the once a year, so you don't have to worry about it for a whole year.
Yeah,
and then,
which is how much again? I mean,
Disney Plus. I think it's like $60 a year.
$60 a year.
No,
it's 60, 70.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, like $60-$70 for like the whole year. And if you want to watch something that's new, like a new movie, you get an additional $20. And I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'll just wait till it's free.
Sorry if I'm making
What do I have to wait like a month?
The thing is, I find the monthly thing to be less imposing. Because I'm on like a strict, I'm on a strict salary.
Nah.
I'm gonna plan on doing a task for dad here this Saturday to get some money.
That's right, because you were talking about getting Black Ops 2.
I really wish it's like it when I just checked on the Xbox game, Microsoft Store, and see it's like really like $50 here
for Black Ops 2.
Yes.
Just go on eBay. You could probably find a disc copy for it on eBay cheaply.
Right.
Probably.
Maybe I should try to do that if it's reasonable. I just wish. I really hope that this Microsoft of purchasing Activision will start making changes here in a bit.
Yeah, here we go. Here's one in its case. The case at most has a little wear and tear. $17.50 plus $4.75 shipping. For just the disc, if you just want like the disc and like maybe a generic case, there's one for like $12.80, $1.99 ship. $10.50. Kind of a bid though. Yeah. There's one for $25, $10 case, disc, and own. There must be a stipulation like it's slightly scratched. Let me see.
So back to the book of Boba Fett.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that Boba Fett should be the one who leads Mandalore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to find
heard this theory a lot.
You're going to disagree on that?
Because he seems very happy with his criminal syndicate.
Yeah. He's happy making chump change.
Yeah, he's making chump change,
Mhm.
ruling Tatooine. Again, I'm pretty sure the Mandalore is going to be dead.
I can't wait to get on the road again.
Wouldn't it be
Is that your
great?
brother?
Yes, he's playing
wouldn't it be
PUBG in the
great?
background.
Huh?
Wouldn't it be great if the Mandalore ended up being Grogu?
I can't wait to get on the road.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's the path they're going along.
What if Luke becomes Mandalore?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Well, then they're definitely retconning the sequels then.
Well, yeah.
I get a cool sword, and then I get a dead
cool
planet.
laser sword.
Cool laser sword in a dead planet.
I hate lightsabers being called laser
Yeah.
sword. Hate it.
Laser
Yeah, but
sword.
That dates back to the prequels when Anakin called it a laser sword.
A little kid
Again,
called it a laser
it's-
sword. That's a different
Well, again,
thing.
it's based more on ignorance. Like they don't really know. You're talking about people from like the outer rim who don't know what the fuck, barely know what the fuck a Jedi is.
I know it's more of a
Remember
pet peeve
back
because
in the EU they had a.
I mean, George
back in-
Lucas is the one. I mean, was the one that sort of made that term.
it's a
Yeah,
pet
well, again-
peeve. It's a pet peeve because I hear real life people talk about laser swords and then speculate about things as if it's actually a fucking laser, and I'm like, it's not though.
That would
And
be a
then
very inconvenient sword. It's like cutting the entire Earth or planet in half.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing's still a weapon of friggin' mass destruction, but not because it's laser.
Nah, yeah. But again, like it's a lot of it, at least in universe. I'm not talking about out of universe when people are genuinely being stupid. I mean, like in universe, most people tend to refer to it as a laser sword because remember back in the prequel era
I know.
of the EU, Jedi were actually regarded as baby snatchers.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
by
remember
some
that.
people because
In the
they
Clone
took
Wars.
they even before the Clone Wars they took children in infancy
Yep.
to start Force and Jedi training.
Yeah.
It's like the sooner you forget you have a family, the easier it'll be for you.
Yep.
I mean, is that a good thing or no? I mean,
Well, for some for some attachment is a danger, but not everybody. Again,
Yeah.
I defer to the wisdom of Jolie Bindo, where he's like,
What
he said love doesn't.
rules are not good.
Yeah, well, he says, love doesn't lead to the dark side. Passion can lead to rage and fear and can be controlled, but passion is not the same thing as love. Controlling your passions while being in love, that's what they should teach you to beware of. Love itself will save you, not condemn you.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I'm getting back to the idiotic Luke argument of by the way, you can't love this kid anymore, and this kid can't love you as like
I want him
a
all
father.
myself.
right.
Well, thanks, hypocrite Luke.
Yep.
How's your family doing?
Crap! I forgot. You don't have a family.
No, he does. He has Leia and Han and Ben and Chewie. He gets to see his family all the time. But, far be it from the Mandalorian to see his, like, adoptive kid. That's too far. That's putting him in danger.
Oh yeah.
50-year-old kid.
They're turning they're turning Luke into a hypocrite. That's I can still see my family because I have better control of my emotions. I'm like, yeah, I can see that by the only emotion you seem to be applying to Din's care for the child is apathy. I know you care for this kid, but you know you shouldn't because it'll hurt him or something.
Well, that was more
because
Ahsoka,
reasons.
I think.
And again, Ahsoka has seen the apathy of Jedi Masters. Combined with her knowledge of the Jedi of old and Luke's knowledge of his emotions saving his father, they can't figure out, maybe we should have emotions, but maybe we should be careful how we handle them.
Right.
You know, the way a true Jedi is supposed to do things.
Yep. And that's why, like, and I believe it's in one of the Fate of the Jedi, or where he like goes berserk on this woman because he thinks she killed Mara Jade.
I know who you're talking about because he thought Lumaya murdered his wife, so he actually lost control of lost his temper, killed her, and he eventually even regretted it. Even regretted it afterwards, thinking, I really shouldn't have reacted that way. That was not the Jedi way. And again, that's Luke learning. That's Grandmaster Luke mistake and learning from it. I made a whole thread on Twitter saying from the EU saying, remember when Luke did this and this? Oh, and he didn't give up despite doing all that. I guess I can add the one from the Shadow of Mindor to that list because he accidentally killed a bunch of, stormtrooper people that he didn't know, but he still felt guilty about it and actually quit his life in the military to focus on being a better Jedi. But no, it's just better that it's just better that he has a terrifying vision which he knows from Yoda that they're uncertain. His nephew is going to murder somebody and has a moment in judgment where he's going to kill him. But rather than try to fix his mistake, I'm just going to go to a barren island and want to die.
Yeah.
Right.
And people wonder where our
Force
criticism comes from. Oh, in TLJ?
Yeah.
I don't even know. He wasn't even acting like regular Yoda, and then he was acting like the disguise Yoda had in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It's like Rian Johnson watched Empire Strikes Back and then fell asleep while watching Return of the Jedi. And missing the important character developments and themes that follow.
Themes.
And if Luke held the lightsaber physically, even though he was a ghost, so why couldn't he just go to Exegol himself? He's like, sup, Palpatine, I'm a ghost, you can't hurt me.
Well, the implication is when Rey does that whole "I'm all the Jedi," they actually had a fan actually made a better version of the scene with the Force ghosts behind her helping her. I'm like, okay, that makes logical sense. Too bad they didn't show that in the actual movie.
Do you know what is the theoretical reason why they didn't do that?
Why?
Because apparently there's a thing in China about ghosts and stuff that they were worried that they'd turn them off.
It all leads back.
That they'll turn what?
It's a thing in China about ghosts that turns them off. But
I seem to recall with a major religion.
No, I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong, but I seem to recall the original trilogy doing quite well in China during the 70s and 80s. As far as their box office goes, and they still feast ghosts in those.
Mm-hmm.
So either people have gotten a little too protective and too sensitive, or something's missing. That's basically the logical elements are missing.
So is Ghostbusters not in China?
I I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't think Ghostbusters the not the new one, but 2016 was even in there. So
Ghostbusters 2016.
they
Right.
don't even want to include that
Everyone
in like
remember-
a
Everyone
Blu-ray.
remembers
Blu-ray
Utopia, but not
4K.
not Ghostbusters 2016.
They had a different version of that in China too. They turned the moose into a panda for like one of the news anchors.
Oh yeah, in Zootopia.
Yeah. Speaking of horror things, China using the maybe this is a taboo issue, but China using the Muslim death camp for to film Mulan, just top notch. Good work, Disney.
Was that? I don't think it was a Muslim death camp, was it?
Yeah, it was. It was, or not, maybe not a death camp, but a prison camp at least.
It was right.
Because
It was filmed near one, if I remember correctly. It wasn't actually in it, but they still thanked
I
them
thought it was
for
in it.
And
Yeah, they still
that-
thanked they thanked the Chinese government for allowing them to film near a horrid a horrid place where people go to die.
Yeah, exactly.
And but they have a problem with Slave One.
Yep. They didn't have a problem with having Boba Fett be an actual slave to the Tusken Raiders for a bit, but they have a problem with Slave One.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
That's a good spot, man. It is, dude. He popped it.
Well, anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, I was actually going to be ending the stream pretty soon.
Cheeseburgers.
This is what
Cheeseburgers?
nice, Brian.
I hate cheeseburgers.
What?
I love cheeseburgers.
I like burgers, but not cheeseburgers.
Why?
You sound like my niece.
Okay, then.
She loves a hamburger, but not a cheeseburger.
I just like a burger with ketchup, and that's it.
What?
Oh,
You
basic.
are from a different planet.
Seems like it, yeah.
You should be discriminated.
I get that a lot.
Yep. Oh well. I think we've covered most of Book of Boba Fett and various other topics. So, woo.
Too bad Joe couldn't make it.
The footnote of Boba Fett.
This is still a book of member berries to me. So but yeah, like it's too bad
Book
Joe
of
wasn't here.
cameos.
I wanted to discuss what he thought.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. It was good to have you all. I'll talk
All
to
right,
you guys
gents. Later.
All right. Later.
later. Later.
Bye.